All right, so what I have done here is I made a mistake here. Rather than movie connection, I implemented this movies connection, and because of that, it was not finding that connection string, and that value null was coming in here, right? And the another piece of mistake here was like there are certain changes around this, container piece. And if you just come to here and if you come to this Docker Hub page for Microsoft SQL Server of Linux version, which I'm running currently, and it says the documentation about 19, 20, and 17 latest as well, right? So let's pick any of this. Let's pick this one and modify this itself, or maybe let's pick this one because I'm having this 19 as well latest, and which is running locally quite fine. And what I'm going to have is like I'll just modify my bit, and I'll just go ahead and take this as is, and copy and paste here in the terminal itself. Let's go ahead and do that. So what I've done is instead of single quote, I have double quotes in, and of course yes, and then SQL SA password rather than SA password, of course Docker at the red one, and remaining things remain same. Only thing is this case I'm just trying with 19 latest, doesn't matter, it should work with 27 latest as well. But as I mentioned, we are not running any SQL specific stuff over here wherein we are testing any SQL feature. So let's go ahead and run this, and this star value is coming fine, and let's see this Docker PS. The current state is running as well, which is fine. Now let's go ahead and start this guy in debug mode itself, so that we can probably see certain um, stuff around Swagger itself. And when I say Swagger, rather than controller and mediator query delegation itself, let's go ahead and bypass this. So looks like this is going to work nicely without any exception, and this host dot run is that means it's okay. Everything is seeded and now it's ready to run. And if I just go ahead and do that here, let's refresh once. So it should be fine. Now what I'm going to do here is let's try this, and let's copy from probably we are can close this one, and let's copy this from, let's say, James Cameron itself, because this is going to give me at least innumerable stuff wherein multiple data set is coming. Let's just copy this. Let's go ahead and put this here, and let's give it a try. And when I say give it a try, let's go to movie controller, get, and let's go to its implementation as well, so that we can put this certain breakpoint. And rather than its implementation, we are interested in get movies by director name handler. So because this is the piece which is going to get inside your infrastructure implementation itself, which is this one, which is actually going to talk to your API to the database itself, and from here it is going to take the seeded data back to your API. So let's go ahead and check that, right? So what I'm going to have is I'll just go ahead and run this execute, and of course director named James Cameron is has come here. And if I just step into, and let's step over here, and you see this director name. Now I am inside this application, right? Now if I go further, and now what I'm going to have is I'm interested in going to that. Looks like I have, yeah. So now you see this into movie repository, I am inside. And if you go to this piece, your handler, now you see this handler. Now I'm inside this handler. So for that particular query, this handler has picked up that thing. And if I just go ahead and step over here, right? So you see this, I'm inside this handle method, wherein I'll be into this method. Now if I just go inside, so what'll happen is like I'm landed basically into this repository section which is there in infrastructure, and from by matching this particular query, what it is going to do, it's going to return me that entire stuff which I'm looking for. So I'll just step out, I'll go to this browser, and I'll see this. This is quite nice and it's working as expected. Likewise, I can certainly, and let's try this bit as well. Let's say version 1 itself, and let's give movie name as in clean architecture, probably from um, .NET Core, and release year, it's getting released in 2023. um, so let's go ahead and execute this, and if you just go ahead and see this, the command here, right? And now if you see this, now this is coming fine. Now let's go ahead and click OK, and probably I have not put the breakpoint inside in this case, right? So let's see here, but anyways, it should give me 200 response with new id which is id 5 created. And if I just go ahead, and so here you can extend these methods like into this controller itself, get by id itself, and then you can just directly get this clean architecture which is coming here. So by director name itself, if you just go ahead and see this with this .NET Core, right? So probably you should get the value here which is expected in that case. And let's in this case just a step out, right, as is. And you see that now the clean architecture .NET Core 2023 with id 5 has come up nicely. So this means that entire piece is working, and this marks the closure of this particular clean architecture demo. And that's the bit. Like if you have understood this bit nicely, right, or if you have any doubts, you can obviously ask me any questions around that. But if you want to delve further with this clean architecture terminology, right, what it means entirely, how it solves the very complex problems of the industry, and how it delegates the problem in a nicer way, and in a more sophisticated way rather. So you could obviously check that particular course wherein I have designed entirely e-commerce application with this .NET 6 plus Angular 15 with all cross-cutting concerns. And apart from that, it has all the minute details around like service mesh, putting all the artifacts on Docker container. Let's say some 20 containers you will be running locally, and then you will be putting into Kubernetes local cluster, of course, and then you will be putting into that Azure using Helm charts. And obviously these images will be hosted in Azure Container Registry, and from there it is going to be orchestrated. And then locally you will be able to connect with that, of course, with the kubeconfig. And that we are also going to have it glimpse around the tool which is like kubelens or Kubernetes lens to see all the minute details of the pods or the services or the replica sets or the deployments, each and every bit around there. And from there you will be seeing that how to enable this istio service mesh, which can give you a glimpse of like how this service flows happen from one service to another service, and how all these bits around microservices work, how service discovery happens, how service call happens, how this disconnected architecture via RabbitMQ works, how this pub sub patterns, and all minute details. You whatever questions you have, you might have experienced with microservices world, in reality you will be seeing there right from scratch. So thanks for joining me.